The imposter syndrome is a psychological pattern in which an individual doubt their own abilities to do something, and it just causes them or prevent them from acting, and they consider themselves a fraud, or they may be exposed as a fraud. Again, I want to emphasize it's a psychological pattern. In this episode, we're going to talk about how you can make sure this psychological pattern doesn't interrupt the way that you are going out doing your cold outreach and prospecting. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast here on TSC TV on YouTube. I am your host, Donald Kelly, the Sales Evangelist, and I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And on this episode, we're going to talk about the imposter syndrome and how you can push that out of your way and make sure it doesn't stop you from doing what you are meant to do. Your job is to go out and to express value to potential buyers about the product or services that you have to offer. And you can't let this imposter syndrome hold you back. So I'm going to talk to you about how you can push this to the side and how you could go into your day and accomplish what you need to accomplish. Well, here's the first thing. Let's go back to the definition, give you a better understanding about this. Let me give you let's give an example before we go into definition. Let's say you started off in a role. You're new to an organization, and perhaps you're selling, let's say you're selling marketing services. You come from a field where you don't have a ton of marketing experience. You came from selling software, and you are selling software to enterprise or a mid-level organization. Now you're selling marketing service to large companies, and you're speaking to CMOs, chief marketing officers. You may feel an imposter syndrome because you may make those first couple calls and you may feel like, I don't know what I'm talking about, and they're going to see me and point out, this guy is a fraud. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And then you're going to be just chased out of town. That never happens, and it's not the case. But in our minds, we build up these stories and we say these things, and then we have this imposter syndrome. And then imposter syndrome, again, go back to the idea of the definition. It's a psychological pattern, the way of thinking that we are not capable of doing something and that we'll be seen as a fraud. If you have this psychological pattern, if you have the psychological belief, then what do you think is going to happen when you need to pick up the phone? Or what do you think is going to happen when you're going to write that email? You're going to have this nagging thought in your mind, say, well, I am not that good. I don't really know how to solve the problem. They're going to recognize it in the things that I say. I might as well not do it in the first place. I need to do more research. And you spend hours doing research. You spend hours doing menial tasks, things that you don't necessarily need to do to be able to do your job as a sales rep. But in your mind, those things become important. So here are some things that I want you to realize first off. We're going to go over a few things. First one, it's a belief. Let's understand that. Just as much as you believe that you are an imposter, you could believe that you're not. Number two, in this situation, this hypothetical situation where you're making up in your mind, you know what? There are going to be true scenarios of that in some degree. What I mean is that not everyone you speak with is going to buy from you. And that's just the case. If you spoke to everyone and they bought from you, you would be a very rich person. Raise your hand as a sales rep if that's the case. Every time you spoke to a prospect, they bought. No one. It doesn't happen. Number three, just as much as it's a belief that just as much as you recognize that these people are not everyone's going to buy from you, why don't you look at and focus on the people who are potentially good customers, the one who will buy from you? So let's tackle those three things first. The first one, just as much as you believe that you're an imposter, why don't you believe the opposite? That you actually have something good. If I'm new to a company, and I've shared this before many different ways, you need to look at ways that you can build your confidence. And one of the ways you can do that is look at your past customers or company's current customer. You could go on the website and see who are some of those clients that have case studies or people who gave testimonials, or go look at a Google review or look at your G2 and see some of those people who giving raving reviews about your product or service. Build up your confidence. Get excited about what you have to offer. Even though you may not know everything, you don't necessarily need to know everything. You just need to understand the problem or the pain and be able to articulate how you can potentially help them. You don't even have to know all the details, because I'm sure if you're working for a marketing agency, the clients that I have in a marketing agency space, they grab somebody's attention and then they build up the excitement. They have that next deeper discussion. The client bring people to the table, and you bring people to the table. You bring your smart folks, your guy who understands SEO, your person who understands ads, your graphic designer, or the person that's overseeing the web design. She could probably answer some of those code questions that you don't know. And that's perfectly fine. And that's the way it's supposed to be. But we put this imagination, we put this thing in our mind. We imagine this horrible situation because we don't know. What if you just tell them, hey, I am new and I don't necessarily understand all the details. Is it okay if we schedule a call and I can bring my ad guy on or my web gal, and then they can explain a little bit more details to you? People would believe you. People would listen to you. So change the belief. Number 2, recognize that not everyone is going to buy from you. And yes, you can still, it's not being pessimistic, but just recognizing the stats or the data is just very, very simple. If I speak to, let's say, 20 individuals in a day, is the likelihood that 20 people are going to buy from me or say yes? No, it's just I know that before I go into the game. It's understanding these rules. So with the imposter syndrome, yes, if somebody rejects you, it doesn't mean that they're rejecting you as a fraud. They're rejecting that opportunity right now. Perhaps they're busy doing something else, or perhaps that individual has a pile of other tasks that make more sense to focus on at this point than it does to have a conversation with a seller. You know what I mean? This is why you take multiple shots. You're going to have multiple approach. Maybe you try on LinkedIn or you try a different day, but don't give up and don't use this imposter syndrome as an excuse to stop taking action. We can't do that. You have something so valuable. I mean, think about it. Your company, how long your company's been around, right? Maybe your company's been around for 20 years. Think about how many people you've helped. Think about how many people could benefit from what you have to offer. But the enemy, yourself, you're the person, you're the one there, not your competitor, not your competitor's company. You right now are blocking yourself from taking advantage of those opportunities to help those individuals. They need to hear you. They need to hear what you have to offer. Just open your mouth, make that phone call, reach out to them. Take the opportunity to express the value. Don't let the one bad situation or that you might perceive as a bad situation, that one no right now, dictate you from helping thousands of other people. Don't let that happen. Just think about how small on the grand scheme of things that one no would be. Even if someone did call you out as an imposter, that you don't know everything, then who cares? Tell them, of course I don't. I never said I don't know everything. Never said I know everything. I'm just telling you that there's a problem. Our company has helped people for the past 25 years. I recognize something and I want to be able to help you or give you some ideas of how that can help you to solve that problem. Boom. Go on. That's how it would be. So, but again, the second point is just recognize that you're going to have people, you're going to have situations that don't pan out. Just plan for that and don't work towards them, but look towards the other stuff. And that goes to my third point. The third point here is, yes, there are people who want what you have to offer. What if you start focusing on them? That's going to help you to overcome the imposter syndrome. So just as much as we recognize there are people who are not ready right now, that's in my mind. I might get a couple of them. That so be it. Let's move on. What if I focus on the people who could get help from what we have to offer? Let's say you sell medical devices, and if you heard one of our past episodes with Ariel, imagine if Ariel didn't reach out to that organization, that clinic at the end of the world. If he didn't reach out to that organization and offer them his services and the solution that his company had, think about how that community wouldn't get benefited. There are 7 billion people on this planet. 7 billion. Not all of them is your customer right now, but there is a large portion at that 7 billion that could benefit from what you have to offer. Maybe their company, the organizations, their community could benefit from that. I want you to flip that in your mind. If I have the imposter syndrome and now I know that that this is a belief, and I try to change my belief that I'm going to help people. 2, I recognize that this organization could be a fit, or maybe some organizations out there are not ready, but this one right now could be. And 3, I'm laser focusing on finding that organization. There's a book that we've had the author on our podcast before, but it's Go for No. If I go for the no, recognizing that I'm trying to get all the no's out to find the people who are there, that's another pattern or another way of thinking that I could go about doing this. But the imposter syndrome, to let that hold you back, it's not worth it. It it doesn't pan out in the long run as a successful strategy for any seller. And I want to tell you, you're not an imposter. Don't let that stop you. So what I want you to do right now, here's your homework, your task, your takeaway. I want you to pick up the phone when you get done listening to this podcast, or I want you to send an email, or I want you to go on LinkedIn. But your job is to do 10 outreach activities, 10. Whether that's going to be 10 phone calls straight, I mean, not interrupting and running and doing some other task, 10 phone calls in a row. I want you to send those 10 emails, if that's the case, right now. And I want you to make sure you do, if you're doing social outreach, send those 10 outreach messages via LinkedIn. Do 10 tasks. Even if you're worried that you're an imposter, even if you're worried that you don't have enough value, even if you don't have the imposter syndrome, just do the task. I want you to do it right now. I want you to then go connect with me on LinkedIn. Hit me up, Donald C. Kelly. My information is popping up on the screen below. Just hit me up on LinkedIn, Donald C. Kelly. Should be on the screen there, Donald C. Kelly. And send me a message. Say, Donald, I listened to your episode. This is 1394 about the imposter syndrome, and I just did my 10 activities. I'm going to personally respond. Because now what's going to happen, once you do that, you're going to start seeing things happen just from those 10 activities. And then this is going to help you to build your confidence even more so to keep going. So again, even if you don't have an imposter syndrome, but you just love the content and you listen to this episode, I want you to do these 10 activities. I want you to change your pattern of thinking. I want you to think about the people that you can help and recognize there's a piece that some of them are not going to be ready right now. But do that 10 and you'll see the results. Listen, I'm excited for you. This is a new year. I want you to say it with me. This is a new year. One more time. Come on, say it. Don't be silly. This is a new year. There are new opportunities, and I'm going to get them. One more time. This is a new year. There are new opportunities, and I'm going to get them. For the people in the back, one more time. This is a new year. There are new opportunities, and I'm going to go get them. Go get your 10 today. I want you to succeed. I want you to find more ideal customers. I want you to know what to say when you reach out to them. I want you to close more deals. This is why we create these contents. But most importantly, I want to change your mindset to go out each and every single day and do big things. Thanks so much for watching. Hey, thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video today. If you enjoyed the content, I ask you to go ahead and hit that like button, that thumbs up in the bottom right-hand corner. Also, to make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. This way, we'll keep you up to date with all the latest sales strategies, latest tools, and things that are going to help you to not only find more prospects, but to close more deals. Thanks so much.